Hi, Karen. How are you?
Hello, Mary.
Hello, Karen. It's Paul.
And
Paul.
we have been turning the pages of this book, and I got to tell you, I can't put it down. I don't know about you, Paul.
Oh, I love that.
Oh,
great.
I read it almost in one sitting. I have to tell you, I haven't been this excited about a book in a while. And you write beautifully. You write from not only inside the character, but cinematically. Do you know?
Oh.
I get to stand behind Charlie's eyes and watch, and then all of your characters. As an only child, some of my best friends were characters in books, and Charlie has become a friend of mine.
Oh, my God, what a beautiful... Listen, you're going to have to go visit her in Watsonville.
I plan on it, absolutely.
She's buried there. I go visit her every once in a while. She's buried in the Odd Fellows Cemetery in Watsonville, California.
Yeah, because she was a real person, ladies and gentlemen. This is a novelized version, but Charlie Parkhurst existed.
Yes, she did. She was amazing. And she was one of our most famous California stagecoach drivers in the mid-1800s. And what happened was, when she died, she was stagecoaching for 30 years. When she died, they got her ready for her funeral, and they went, oh, my God, she's a woman.
Wow.
Charlie Parkhurst is a woman who's had a child. Mm-hmm. And doctors came from all over, from San Francisco, everywhere, to check out her body, because nobody could believe it, because she had done all these things, like she killed the famous outlaw Sugarfoot, who robbed her stagecoach one too many times. She was as far as we know, she was the first woman to vote in America as a man. I mean, she did these amazing things. And she fascinated me so much that I had to find out how in God's name how could a woman pass as a man with all these macho guys that she hung out with? I mean, they even peed together. So, it's like, how she carried that off, I have no idea. One thing I do know is that probably, I did some research about not having whiskers or a beard or anything. And probably I figured she must have gone out in the garden when she got ready for work and put dirt all over her face. Mm-hmm, that's the only thing I can figure out.
Well, yeah, and I think, what I love about your writing, though, is we don't, in the beginning pages, we really do not, obviously, I mean, I knew this story. I don't get a sense that she's female at all yet. And I think that's a testament to your writing. I think the writing is so rich, and it's all, and you're an actress as well. She's been in a ton of things. Mm-hmm. I mean, I looked at your bio and I was like, I know this woman, and now that you've written this wonderful book, the character is so three-dimensional, and I almost feel as an author, and maybe this wasn't even your style, I felt like you really embodied this character. I don't know if it was through your acting experience you were able to do this, but I really got a sense of who this character was from the first page.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, you're very kind of clever, and that you must have acted a bit too yourself, because
yes.
No, it's true. One of the things that happened was, I did kind of take on her persona as far as I could do the research, and many times I'd write, and God, it was a terrible page of writing, and I'd go to sleep depressed. But there were the times when suddenly maybe people who are listening out there who have written know what I'm talking about. There's a strange, almost like channeling, where somebody kind of, you're not doing it, you're an instrument, and it astonished me, because I think part of that is, the acting training, but also part of it was just being so enamored of this woman and trying to understand her and trying to put myself into her place and try to figure out how she would navigate the world with this choice. And so thank you for those words. The thing that means a lot to me is every once in a while somebody writes me a beautiful note and says, there was this lady I think she was living in Wisconsin or Ohio, somewhere like that, in a note, she said, you know, my husband died. My son has tried to commit suicide.
Oh.
We've lost our house. My insurance is, can't have no insurance. She said, you know, I hang out at the library, and there was your book in the new book section, and I love the cover, so I took it, and she said, I'm writing to tell you that you've given me courage to take on my life, because she said, if Charlie could survive all the things she did, I can too. And it was, oh my God, how beautiful to be able to maybe inspire people to be brave in this life, you know, to put things around life, because, you know, what is it Helen Keller said about life is either a daring adventure or nothing at all. And, you know, I believe with all my heart that we need to do that, all of us. And then take all the bad stuff and try to hopefully turn it into good stuff.
You know, it is definitely a coming of age piece, and I think what's great as a female to realize, you know, how this woman really lived a life as a man, and had such a voice as a man, but also had a voice as a woman.
Well, it's interesting in this day and age now that, you know, we're dealing with so many senses of equality and freedom, you know, certainly with the civil rights movement, including the LGBTQ movement, which Mary and I have been so honored to have been guests of the Gay and Lesbian Transgender Archives down at USC. It is fascinating to me that with Charlie, and just the heartbreak that you write in her early life, that this was just the easiest way she could have passed for safety.
Yeah.
You
That's
know,
exactly right.
When Lee takes a hold of her, and then just the heartbreak of Byron. I mean, people, you have got to read this book. But what her enormous courage, which is genderless.
Yes.
That she triumphed, especially when there's that wonderful scene in San Francisco. I just laughed that she's, you know, having trouble with the hoop skirt, and you write it so beautifully. I can see it getting caught in the doorway, and she's probably swearing under her breath like a man, but she's, you know, dolled up as a woman. I got to tell you, I went completely for this ride, but there is one part that actually moved me to tears. It's so beautiful. And if I'm allowed, I would like to read. It's a quick little paragraph that you wrote that I actually was sitting in a coffee shop crying.
Wow.
Because it's so touching. And here it is. It's toward the end of the book, and it's it's actually on page 273. Friendship. True friendship is a curious dance. Why does one recognize and embrace one soul and yet not another? What is that? That's something unspoken. Perhaps it is a long-ago remembrance of another time, another place, those same familiar eyes shining out. Always we are searching for those recognizable eyes so that we might at last be recognized ourselves.
Wow, you read that really beautifully. Thank you.
Well, thank you, because I thought, isn't that, you know, past all of the political stuff about how people choose to or adorn their bodies, aren't we all just hoping somebody sees us?
Yes, that's exactly right.
And I am madly in love with this book, and with your writing. It is just, it's so cinematic. And being an actor myself, it is such a plum role. If it's not a movie, it needs to be.
Yeah, I wanted to talk to you about that, and I said this to Lisa. This really is a film. I mean, I don't know. Sometimes authors don't really want to go to the film, so I don't want to, push it in a direction that you don't want it to go. But did you even think about that when you were writing this book?
Well, I'll tell you what. First of all, it's interesting that a lot of people have felt that it should be a film. To answer your question, you know, when as an actor, are you you're both actors,
yes.
right? Or were, yes. As an actor, you visualize everything, you feel everything. You know, the old method thing of sensory recall. So I was doing it. I kept seeing pictures, you know, visions and pictures, and I kept thinking, you know, yeah, this would be an interesting film. I'll tell you, I think, you know, with what's coming up, we're getting little, I don't know what anyone's politics are, but we're getting little vibrations that Hillary is going to run. You know, about this, it's going to be the strong woman era.
Yeah.
and I mean stronger than it is now. And to answer your question, yes, I think, at this point in my life, I think, Robin Weichert did the audio version. Did you get a chance to hear the book?
I have not yet.
No, we have not yet.
Because there is an audio version of it. And, she was the star of Deadwood.
Right.
She played Calamity Jane on Deadwood.
Right.
And she has talked a lot about, how she feels this is a film. So, yeah, long story, a long thing here, but to answer your question, I would love it if someone took it properly. Oh, God, Clint Eastwood, yeah? Could you imagine? But because he loves, brave women, but I think right now I hear he's doing Jersey Boys.
Oh.
Know that? He's going to direct Jersey Boys, I think.
Oh, wow.
Well, just because when I was being trained as an actor, I went to the American Academy. I remember one of my directors saying, to be a really good actor, you must be a good detective. And so that's what I saw in your writing. When you described the Wells Fargo coach, the Concord coach, I grew up just outside Denver, Colorado, so I've had the chance to know what that Concord coach looked like.
Because
they have one in the museum. And I went, that's what I said. Charlie is a dear friend of mine now, and I went along for the ride. And Anna, all of these characters are just so lush and so wonderful. And to go through Charlie's life, and what a nice slice of American history that we went through, and that Charlie got to see it from both sides.
When Lee wanted, Charlotte, now Charlie, wanted her to be a boy so they could stay together in the same dormitory, that's where I was crying. You might have been crying at the coffee shop. I was crying at my house, because just the protective of him, and that she had such a, I wonder if Lee kind of was her roadmap for Charlie.
From all of these characters, and how you can see how Charlie pieces people together. But the cruelness of what happens to her family. That's the other time I'm sitting there, and the guy is putting more half and half in the little container next to me. He goes, "Are you okay?" Because I'm like, "Oh no, her baby." I mean, Karen, I have to tell you, I was a mess. I loved this book. I went on I read it in one day.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you're so funny, Paul. I mean, you're beautiful. But I mean, you make me laugh so much.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you something interesting. Some of the research I did, because in the Old West, they were all men, except prostitutes, and maybe a couple of wives were dragged out to run the general store.
Right.
But other than that, there were no women.
Right.
So whether you were gay or straight, I found out that a lot of men slept together just because they needed comfort, and they needed, they needed to be together. They needed the warmth of another body. And so if you notice, both men and Sugarfoot are, both a little bisexual.
Well, I actually found that out once again at the Colorado History Museum. There was an amazing photograph, because, they didn't have many photographers back then, and it shows a dance hall in Central City, Colorado, and it's all these men dancing together.
Oh.
And the lovely all the caption underneath said, "Enjoying a Saturday evening." And I thought, well, it looks like a big old gay bar to me, but once again, up at 14,000 feet, when you're dealing with mine tailings and being down on the ground, having a couple shots of whiskey,
Oh my God! Of course.
That's so funny.
That's so funny. How would somebody, Charlie, 30 years, not have any human contact, not have to keep her secret safe? She couldn't be with anybody really. And you need the warmth of a human body. You need touch. You need to be close to someone intimately, emotionally, physically. I don't know how she carried that part off.
Well, when Anna,
she was when she began.
Right, when Anna makes the first dinner for Charlie, is when I also had water standing in my eyes, because Charlie mentions he'd never known what it was like to be taken care of, and I was like, oh,
wow, that's amazing. Karen, when you're doing research, I find this, because this is in many ways a historical book. I mean, where do Where do you even begin with something like this?
Well, one of the things that helped was I was very blessed to find the New York Times obituary, her New York Times obituary, which, of
That's
course,
fantastic.
is in the back of the book.
Yes.
Back of the book.
Which, helped, which led me to, and I also found when I went to Watsonville, I went up to Watsonville and talked to a lot of people because she's the heroine of the city. Their relatives, their great-grandparents and things. So there are these stories that have been passed on. So what I did, of course, is I took all the facts that we know, and then I took the rumors, and I novelized the rumors. On the cover of the book, it says inspired by a true story, a novel. And the reason I did that, of course, is because I did novelize the rumors. Who knows if they're true or not? One of them being that she was with an African-American man because her middle name was Darky. We don't know if she put that name in there. She was born with it. I don't think her name was her name. I think she probably made up her name, the one that's on the tombstone. We don't know really who she was. But because, by the way, when she died, the New York Times asked, and other papers, for people to come and claim her body. And nobody did.
Oh, no.
Well, she was an orphan, of course.
Sure.
So that's number one. But there was nobody. Nobody, said, yeah, she's part of our family. So, it's hard to get research when there's no family.
I'm inspired by writers.
Absolutely.
I really am. And it's funny, I'm directing musical theater down in Orange County, and we talk about triple threats, and I almost feel, Karen, I mean, you're a triple threat as an actress and all that, but you're also a triple threat because you're an incredible writer. I mean, did you know coming out of the gate what a good writer you were?
No, I mean, I didn't know that I could even put the sentence together. But, sometimes, I'll tell you, I'm going to share with the audience, anybody who has a little spark of wanting to write something. This is what I did, and it really helped me. Everybody's afraid. They have an idea. Maybe it's their family. Maybe they have a great story they want to put down, but it's always that first sentence. You want to make it perfect. What I did was I took an old tape recorder and I started talking into it. Not even from the beginning, just any thoughts I had, and I put research on it, and I put everything that I could. I had people asking me questions, friends, about ideas I had about the book. So then what I did was, of course, then there's something called Dragon software, which your words. At that time, I didn't have that. So I had to have somebody transcribe it. But now it's really easy, and you can just put it right up on your computer. And my God, yes, you need to make the puzzle, put the puzzle together. But you've got 40, 50 pages already.
Wow, that's
and you
really interesting.
there and you start to play with it, and you go, oh. And the other thing is you can't make. I mean, it took me 6 years and 27 drafts to write this book.
My goodness.
So you were talking about research. I'd keep coming up with fine new research, new stuff, new things. And so I kept, my publisher, just had to rip the book from my hand. Up already.
Well,
I said, oh, no, one more draft. He said, no, that's it.
Well, and that's the thing. I know when I did my one woman show, some dear friends of mine who are a writer, Paul who helped me with the show, but also my husband who's a writer, they said, can you just put it down and do it and see what happens. And we always have a rewrite. However, this is incredible, and I really urge everybody to read The Whip. They can get it everywhere, right, Karen? They really can.
Probably the cheapest is on Amazon and Barnes & Noble online. It's cheaper than the bookstores, and also the thing with the bookstores is, sometimes you have to wait a little while they order it. I mean, it is in a few. It's doing very well in Utah.
Good, excellent.
The Mormons really like it.
It's a wonderful story of the West. Somebody who lived in the West.
It is doing, actually, I guess that's cowboy country.
You bet.
But, in those books, in Utah, it's in all the bookstores there. But,
wow,
and I don't know, I think Book Soup in L.A. had a couple copies. But as I say, it's much cheaper. In fact, you can even get the ebook for really online and on Amazon. So in terms of finances these days, I mean, I happen to love to hold a book.
Me too.
Part of the
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, we do. But and here's the thing: we have to do our station announcements. I can't believe how quick this was. Will you come back in studio so we can get some good pictures and delicious pictures of you and give you a squeeze? Would you come on the show?
I would love that. So you tell me when to come. I'll show up.
Oh, good.
Oh, sweet thing.
Excellent. So everybody, get the book, The Whip, inspired by a true story. So Karen, everybody, thank you so much. It was so great talking to you.
I just want to tell you all, both of you, that I adore you. I can tell you're
that's
sick.
sweet.
And I'm sending you both a big hug. All right?
All right.
Back at you.
Thank you so much, and have a great night. Okay.
Take care, Karen.
Take care. Bye.
What a great book.
Oh, and isn't she what? Really, ladies and gentlemen, along with Miss Marty Meek, all of our bedside books are my favorites, but this was such a great read.